Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and you've tuned into another live edition of the LockerGnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short. I have to do 13 things at one time. This sometimes makes for weirdness when I'm doing one thing as you see me doing another thing, but that's the way it goes. I'm actor, director, producer, myself, editor, kind of, as I edit on the fly. This is a live video being broadcast into the YouTube channel. You can tune in if you become a patron at chrispirillo.com. TLDR is about an hour long, so if you want an hour of Chris Pirillo every day, you can have it. You can. TLDR comes in many parts. This first part, then I move into Pirillo Picks, and then after that I answer tech questions and geek questions, and then talk about geek culture and tech news. So it's really just a whole bunch of fun, honestly. But today's topic, as you may have already realized, if you are indeed literate, are three things that I think you should pay attention to, or you need to pay attention to, in The Force Awakens. Now, I am not a Star Wars expert. I'm sure some people would say that. I do happen to have a fascination with Star Wars. It is my fandom. It is a lifestyle for me. I love it. And there are a few other things that I love in life. I've seen The Force Awakens now 5 times. Most recently was with Eric. I took him and got him his own bucket of popcorn and his own set of the 3D glasses that I chose as Pirillo Picks the other day. You saw those already, I'd assume. I don't know. Maybe you've never watched my videos before. You don't know how this usually goes, because I'm bleh. So that's kind of what The Force Awakens makes me. Bleh. Even seeing it 5 times, I'm ready to see it again. I'm ready to go. I cannot wait to see The Force Awakens again in the theater. So there are many things that I think get skipped when you see the movie just once. And that's why when I say you should see The Force Awakens at least twice, I'm not saying it because I'm all like, go Disney, go, go Star Wars, go. Well, yes, I am. But it's because I know you're going to pick up on different things the next time you see it, rather than the first time when you're just kind of taking it all in. The first thing I want you to pay attention to, or you should pay attention to, or you should see, or listen to, because you can't really see music, is the music. In my review, or at least one of my reviews for The Force Awakens, I talked about how the soundtrack, which was nice, it was a wonderful score, didn't really hit home with me. But the more I've seen the movie, the more I recognize one part of the soundtrack over and over and over again, and that's Rey's theme. And this is simple, complex, memorable, all like rolled into one, because you'll hear it over and over and over again. And this is the thing that you can't necessarily pay attention to the first time you see it. Even the second time, maybe the third time, you'll hear it more and more, especially when Rey's involved, or maybe when she's not directly involved, you will hear her theme. It is absolutely sewn within the movie, and that is some. I mean, like, in terms of how the movie progresses, that's something that I don't think I appreciated, honestly, the first few times that I saw it. But the more I saw it, the more I did appreciate it. The more I picked up on it. I picked up on cues even the first time around, hearing Rey's theme kind of being intertwined with Luke Skywalker's theme. I heard that. It was clear. That was obvious. But that's something you should be listening to, because it helps, again, kind of progress the movie, or it helps the movie progress. I could say it either way, I suppose. So that's one thing you should be paying attention to, is listen. Listen for Rey's theme. It is the strongest theme, apart from maybe the classic themes that we've known and loved from the original trilogy, at least in Star Wars. So that's one thing that you should absolutely be paying attention to or picking up on. The second thing that I definitely mentioned in my review, and I want to make sure you see that I don't know if you're going to catch the first time around, symbolism. And coming from someone who, I guess will have an English background in terms of English education, I took a lot of English courses, and one of the things with literature is symbolism. It's heavy. Like, the writers use this as a convention or a mechanism to convey meaning. And I love symbolism. I love seeing it. I love reading it. I love hearing it. And this movie is just packed, jam-packed with symbolism. I talked about the symbolism in Han Solo's death, where Kylo Ren is standing in the light fades, and then you see Kylo turn. By the way, I'm thinking about doing a separate video on why I hate Kylo Ren as a villain more than Darth Vader, and that's a good thing. I'm saying that I think Kylo Ren is more evil than Darth Vader, and I have several reasons why. That'll be another video for the future. But the symbolism is just thick, all the way down to Kylo Ren and Rey's battle. I mean, it's obvious with the divide that happens when Starkiller Base splits into, or at least that part of the planet splits into, and Rey goes on one side and Kylo on the other. But even down to Rey fighting Kylo in the lightsaber blades, as they were ignited, Kylo's red, which is usually a symbol for evil and darkness, and the blue or the white or the light with Rey. It was just, I thought it was breathtaking. I think that's my, even though it wasn't like dramatic, like, you know, unlike Samuel L. Jackson, who thinks that they need to go to lightsaber training school. He obviously missed the point of Rey's character and Finn's character, but that's okay. I think that's probably one of my favorite parts of any lightsaber battle in the Star Wars universe, because of the symbolism and because of how it was done. The basically just the flashing of the red and the white. It was beautiful. It was just absolutely beautiful, and I loved it. So there's so much symbolism, and that's high level symbolism. That's easy. That's like in geometry, that's like a given, the symbolism. But there's so much symbolism throughout The Force Awakens that, you don't necessarily pick up on until you've seen it a few times. And then you realize, wow, that scene is so much better than I thought it was. And I already thought it was good. So pick up on the symbolism. The last thing, or at least the third thing, not last thing, not final point, because maybe there's some other things that you want to bring up that people should be paying attention to or picking up on in The Force Awakens. And I mentioned this in the review as well, and I realized not everybody wanted to sit through my 2-hour review. This is the reason why I'm breaking it down for this particular video. Han Solo's facial expressions. And this is something that I don't think can be understated. Now, as I begin to explain paying attention to Han Solo's facial expressions and why I believe this is something you need to be paying attention to as I hit refresh, is this not going to work again today? It was not working the other day. Google Docs is sometimes a little... no? Okay, fine. I guess I'm going to do this then. This is the list of patrons who get credit at least at one point during the TLDR broadcast, or at least a certain pledge level or higher. Han Solo lays down so much foreshadowing, not just within the movie itself, but potential foreshadowing to future movies within this trilogy, episode 8 and 9, which haven't been fully written. But there are certain things that the directors of the other films are aware of that they communicated to JJ. JJ made certain changes. And I honestly believe that Han Solo, as much as he's no longer with us as a character, at least from how The Force Awakens was presented, he laid so much. I think he was so powerful. His character became more powerful because of what he was emoting. There was more that was said in what wasn't said in The Force Awakens than what was said. I think the actors did an amazing job. In fact, more than one person has now told me that Rey is now their favorite Star Wars character of all time. She did such an amazing job, and I think having Han Solo there was good to help, bring things along, at least for those of us who loved the original trilogy and still do. But one thing that really leapt out at me was Harrison Ford's portrayal of Han Solo at this age. And his facial expressions gave away so much and said so much. The guilt, the shame, the sadness, the concern, and the angst. It was all laid out. You knew how he was thinking. He didn't have to say anything, and you just knew. Harrison did such an amazing job, and it's so funny because one person that I talked to, another Star Wars fan, I'm not going to take away from his perspective, but he thought that his words were that Harrison Ford phoned it in. I'm like, did we see the same movie? Because to me, it was just the opposite. He totally nailed it. Just watch. When you see it for a second time, watch for those things. Listen for the things. Listen for Rey's theme. Watch for the symbolism. Watch Han Solo's facial expressions because you know what's going to happen. It gives you time to sink back and relax and just experience the film and watch, knowing what's going to happen, watch how it plays out. And honestly, I think that, of all the Star Wars movies, this is one of Harrison Ford's best portrayals of Han Solo. And I'm not saying that the character is even the same. But you pick up on things that just mean so much more when you look at this movie as more than just a movie and just enjoying it for Star Wars, because it's just deep. That's the thing that just it strikes me as odd that anybody who just doesn't see it as deep, because they have knee-jerk reactions, or they imagined a different kind of future for our favorite Star Wars characters, or the galaxy of Star Wars entirely. There's a lot of things that you can see when you watch it second, third, fourth, even fifth time. I picked up on a few other things that I didn't catch the first few times around. The books and items that Rey walked past as she was going up the Jedi steps to meet Luke Skywalker. I picked up on that. I picked up on the fact that when Han Solo was talking about how he didn't believe about, the Force, he didn't believe the Force, but then, yeah, it's true. All of it, that statement was powerful because he became the Obi-Wan type of character. But if you notice, he said it in darn near the exact same spot as he once rejected the same sentiment from Obi-Wan. And I realized that of course, Harrison Ford said it, but it was when I saw it the last time with Eric that I realized, I'm like, wow, it was the same space. It's just cool. I love how that it works. It really works for me. That's not symbolism. It's a mirror or an echo of the past, but it just also shows how much these characters have progressed beyond our scope or understanding at this time because of how The Force Awakens has been laid out. So those are my thoughts. Just three things that I really think you need to be paying attention to in The Force Awakens. Maybe other people caught other things that they think are just deeper than just surface level stuff. But it was just done well. It's one of the reasons why I like seeing it over and over and over again. Now I need to move on to today's Pirillo picks, and I do have several picks today, although they are kind of the same. I do also want to mention that I've got a couple of tech questions that have already rolled in that I'm going to be answering in this particular broadcast. Oh, Eric, he says his theory is that Rey is being led by the spirit of Obi-Wan. That is possible. We don't know. Or Yoda, we don't know. We don't know. I love that. I love not knowing. I do. Some people just get angry at that. I'm like, it keeps driving me forward. Okay, so thank you, everybody. If you are a patron, of course, you can tune in for the entire broadcast. Everybody else, well, thank you for your support. If you want to support even more, head over to chrispirillo.com. Today's free podcast highlight was brought to you by all of my active patrons from chrispirillo.com. If you want access to the full TLDR episodes, both audio, video, past, present, and future, which can be up to an hour long or longer, with even more tech insight from me every weekday, plus other bonus content without ads, and support me at the same time, you can sign up to become one of my supernomies too. This is just a brief taste of what I'm producing for you daily. Again, get more through chrispirillo.com.